warm metal of the gun pressed against Maya Harris's palm as she stared down at the bodies. 2 shots for Greg, 1 for Rachel. Blood pooled across the hardwood floor, the same floor where Maya had once played with her children, where family photos had been taken, where memories were built and then destroyed. In the quiet of what was once her home, Maya didn't run. She didn't scream. She simply stood there, waiting for the sirens she knew would come. Some say betrayal cuts deeper than any knife. Maya Harris didn't just believe this. She decided to test the theory. What would you do if everything you built was taken from you? If the person who vowed to love you forever not only walked away, but seemed to delight in your suffering? The line between seeking justice and craving revenge isn't always clear. For Maya Harris, successful architect, devoted mother, and abandoned wife, that line vanished completely one fateful night. Many of us have felt the sting of betrayal, the ache of watching someone we love choose another path, another person. We've lain awake wondering, how did I miss the signs? But few of us crossed the boundary Maya did. At what point does righteous anger transform into something unforgivable? When does pain justify the unthinkable? Tonight we explore how a woman who once had everything, the career, the husband, the children, the house, ended up with nothing but a prison cell and the weight of 2 lives on her conscience. You might think you know where this story goes. You don't. You might believe you understand what drives someone to murder. You can't. And you might assume you'd never find yourself standing where Maya stood that night, gun in hand, rage in heart. But are you certain? This isn't just another tale of a woman scorned. It's a warning about what happens when hurt festers into hatred, when love warps into obsession, and when the desire for someone to feel your pain becomes more important than your own freedom. Welcome to Altar of Secrets. This is Maya's story. Hey there, truth seekers. If this is your first time joining us at Altar of Secrets, let me welcome you to a space where we examine how love can sometimes lead to the darkest corners of human behavior. What you're about to witness isn't just entertainment. It's a mirror reflecting warning signs we all might miss in our own relationships. Before we continue Maya's journey, take a second to hit that subscribe button. Our community grows stronger with each new member, and I promise you won't want to miss our uploads. Click that notification bell too. Our stories move quickly, and each episode contains details that might save someone's life, maybe even yours. Every like helps share these crucial stories with people who need to hear them. So tap that button if you're ready for the truth. Now let's go back to where it all began for Maya Harris. Back when her world seemed perfect, before she noticed the subtle hints of betrayal that would eventually lead her down a path of no return. 10 years ago, Maya Harris wasn't just good at her job, she was exceptional. At 32, she had already designed award-winning buildings across 3 states. Her name carried weight in architectural circles, her portfolio grew richer each year, and her income reflected that success. Home was a 4,000-square-foot modern masterpiece overlooking the city, designed by Maya herself during the early years of her marriage to Greg. Floor-to-ceiling windows captured sunlight through every season, custom furniture, hand-selected art, a kitchen that appeared in design magazines. Greg matched her ambition stride for stride. His law practice specialized in corporate defense, bringing in 7-figure settlements that allowed them both to live without financial constraints. They traveled to Paris in spring, Tokyo in fall. Their wine collection was insured for more than most people's homes. "We were those people everyone hates on social media," Maya later told a friend. "The ones who make everything look easy." Their children, Zoe and Noah, attended private schools. Summer camps focused on coding and leadership. Winter breaks spent skiing. They were bright, well-mannered extensions of their parents' apparent perfection. From the outside, the Harris family seemed blessed beyond measure. Holiday cards showed them laughing on beaches, posing beside landmarks, living what appeared to be a flawless existence. But perfection has a weight to it, a pressure that builds silently. For Maya, the first hint came during their anniversary dinner at a 5-star restaurant. Greg checked his phone 17 times. She counted. When asked about it, he mentioned a difficult case, but wouldn't meet her eyes. The second sign appeared when he started working weekends, then coming home with a scent Maya didn't recognize. Not cologne, but something more personal. The third warning flickered when he stopped asking about her day, stopped sharing details about his. By then, however, Maya was too invested in their perfect narrative to acknowledge what was happening. The beautiful life they'd built had become a prison of expectations, with walls too high to see beyond. Maya first noticed the gap in their bed, how Greg slept farther away each night, body angled toward the door as if planning an escape. Small things disappeared next. Morning kisses, midday texts, the hand on her lower back when they entered rooms together. "It's just work pressure," he assured her, words hollow as his eyes focused somewhere beyond her shoulder. 6 months of distance turned into a year. Maya tried everything: weekend getaways, couples therapy, even surprising him at his office with lunch. Each attempt met with the same polite disinterest. Then came the credit card statement. A hotel charge, downtown. Tuesday afternoon when Greg claimed to be in court. A restaurant receipt for two the same evening. Maya recognized the place: intimate lighting, private booths. Not somewhere you'd take a client. She didn't confront him immediately. Instead, she watched, gathered evidence like one of his legal cases. The late meetings, the new shirts she hadn't bought him, how he showered immediately after coming home. "I need to see your phone," Maya finally said one night, voice steady despite her racing heart. Greg's face shifted, surprise, then anger, then something colder. "Why? You know why." He handed it over without argument. That's when she knew for certain. Her fingers found the messages quickly. Rachel, a paralegal at his firm, 27 to Maya's 36. The texts were everything Maya feared: intimate, loving, filled with plans. Some dated back 14 months. "How long were you planning to lie?" Maya asked. Greg didn't apologize, didn't try to explain. He simply said, "I don't love you anymore. I haven't for a while." The words landed like a physical blow. "Rachel understands me," he continued, taking back his phone. "It wasn't planned, but it happened. I want a divorce." 4 words. I want a divorce. 14 years of marriage dismissed in a single breath. That night, Maya slept in their guest room, listening to Greg pack a suitcase. In the morning, he was gone, moved in with Rachel. He texted later. Just like that. The children asked where Daddy went. Maya had no answers that made sense, even to herself. What she didn't know then was that losing Greg was just the beginning. The real betrayal hadn't even started. The divorce papers arrived by courier 3 days later. Maya opened them at her kitchen island, the same marble surface where she'd once rolled cookie dough with her children, where family dinners were planned, where Greg used to sit drinking coffee while she made breakfast. What she read made her stomach turn. Greg wasn't just seeking divorce. He wanted full custody of Zoe and Noah. His filing painted Maya as unstable and career-obsessed. It cited her late nights at the architecture firm as evidence of maternal neglect. Every dedication to her work, the same work that had built their lifestyle, now weaponized against her. "He's trying to erase me," she told her attorney, voice breaking. The financial demands were equally brutal. Greg claimed the house was primarily purchased with his earnings. He froze their joint accounts, canceled her credit cards. Within weeks, Maya, who had designed million-dollar buildings, couldn't afford her own mortgage. The court proceedings dragged for months, each hearing more devastating than the last. Greg arrived in tailored suits, Rachel often beside him, her hand possessively on his arm. They presented themselves as the stable option, the better choice for 2 confused children. Then came the judge's ruling. Greg received primary custody. Maya got weekend visits. The house would be sold, with Greg receiving 70% of proceeds due to greater financial contribution during the marriage. But Greg didn't sell the house. Instead, he bought Maya's share at a court-mandated discount. Within 6 months of their separation, Greg and Rachel lived in Maya's dream home, slept in her bedroom, cooked in her kitchen. Maya's children now had bedrooms she couldn't enter freely, in a house she had designed herself. From her small rented apartment across town, Maya watched her life disintegrate. Her architecture firm put her on leave, concerned about her emotional state. Friends chose sides, most gravitating toward Greg's more powerful social standing. At night, unable to sleep, Maya would drive past her former home. She'd park down the street, watching shadows move behind windows she'd once selected. watching another woman live her life. "If I can't have it back," she whispered one night, hands tight on the steering wheel, "maybe no one should." The thought frightened her at first, then it began to feel like comfort. Maya's apartment walls became a canvas for her obsession. Post-it notes, calendar pages, maps, photos taken from across streets through windows, a detailed log of Greg and Rachel's routines. 8:30 a.m., Greg leaves for work. 9:15 a.m., Rachel drops the kids at school. 6:45 p.m., family dinner. Day after day, Maya added more information. When they shopped, where they ate, which friends visited. She learned Rachel's parents came every third Sunday, that Greg now played golf on Saturdays, a hobby he'd previously mocked. "I'm just gathering information for custody," she told herself, even as the collection grew beyond any legal purpose. Her phone filled with hundreds of photos, Greg walking to his car, Rachel gardening in Maya's yard. The four of them, Greg, Rachel, and Maya's children, at an ice cream shop, looking like a family that had always belonged together. Maya stopped calling her friends back, missed deadlines for potential architecture projects. Her appearance changed, unwashed hair, weight loss, dark circles beneath her eyes. The rare times she saw her children, they seemed nervous around her, asking when they could go home to Dad. "I am home," she'd insist, voice rising. "This is your home too." Sleep became impossible without alcohol. One glass became two, then half a bottle just to quiet her mind. In those blank, numbed hours, her thoughts twisted into increasingly dark shapes. What if Rachel simply disappeared? What if Greg lost everything, just as she had? The gun wasn't planned. Maya went to a shop 3 towns over, intending only to look. The weight of it surprised her, heavier than expected. The store owner explained models, calibers, safety features. She nodded, pretending knowledge she didn't possess. "Home protection?" he asked. "Something like that," Maya answered. The waiting period gave her time to reconsider. She didn't. When she returned to collect the weapon, she bought extra ammunition, just in case. That night, she practiced holding it, aiming at shadows on her wall. The coldness of metal against her palm felt like permission. Her notebook filled with scenarios, confrontation at his office, catching them at a restaurant. But one option returned repeatedly. The house. Her house, the place that should have remained hers. On her bathroom mirror, using her lipstick, Maya wrote, "They took everything." Each morning she read those words while brushing her teeth. Each night, they were the last thing she saw. The gun moved from her closet to her purse, from her purse to her car's glove compartment. Waiting, patient. A solution to a problem Maya couldn't solve any other way. Let me pause Maya's story right here. Can you identify the warning signs we've seen so far? The isolation, the obsessive tracking, the justification of increasingly dangerous thoughts. Have you ever witnessed someone change this dramatically after heartbreak? Or perhaps felt yourself sliding toward thoughts you never imagined having? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What red flags did you notice that Maya missed in her marriage? What would you have done differently in her position? Many of you are probably wondering if Maya actually went through with her plan. Trust me, when I say the next part of this story contains details that shocked even seasoned detectives. Hit that like button right now if you're invested in Maya's journey. Subscribe if you haven't already. We explore cases like this every single day on Altar of Secrets. What happens in the next few minutes of our story will determine the fate of 3 lives forever. The children will lose not just one parent, but potentially both. And Maya, she's about to cross a line she can never uncross. Tuesday, October 17th. A date that would soon appear in police reports, newspaper headlines, and eventually court transcripts. Maya sat in her car across from her former home, engine off, streetlights casting shadows through the windshield. The house glowed from within, warm lights in rooms she had once painted, decorated, lived in. Through the kitchen window, she watched Greg and Rachel preparing dinner. Her kitchen. Her copper pots hanging above the island. Rachel reaching for wine glasses Maya had received as a wedding gift. The gun rested on the passenger seat, no longer foreign to Maya's touch. She'd loaded it earlier that evening, each bullet sliding into place with mechanical precision. Tonight felt different. The children were at Maya's parents' house, a blessing she would later recognize. No witnesses, no collateral damage, just the 3 adults in this twisted triangle. At 8:42 p.m., Maya checked her reflection in the rearview mirror. She hardly recognized herself, hollow eyes, tight mouth, hair pulled back severely from her face. "This is justice," she whispered to her reflection. "They deserve this." The walk from her car to the front door took 27 steps. Maya counted each one, the gun now hidden in her coat pocket. Heavy, certain, final. She rang the doorbell, a chime she had selected years ago. Greg answered, surprise washing over his face. "Maya? The kids aren't here." "I know," she replied, voice oddly calm. "I came to see you." Something in her tone made him step back. Maya entered what had once been her home. Everything looked both familiar and wrong. New throw pillows on her sofa, different photos on the walls, the smell of Rachel's perfume hanging in the air. "What's going on?" Rachel appeared from the kitchen, wineglass in hand. "Is everything okay?" Maya removed the gun from her pocket. The movement felt smooth, practiced. "You took everything from me," she said, eyes locked on Greg. "My home, my children, my dignity." Greg raised his hands. "Maya, think about what you're doing. Think about Zoe and Noah. Did you think about them when you destroyed our family?" Her voice rose. "When you moved your girlfriend into my house?" Rachel backed away, glass slipping from her fingers, shattering on the floor. "Greg?" The first shot hit Greg in the chest. He looked more surprised than pained, eyes wide as he collapsed backward. The second shot caught him in the shoulder as he fell. Rachel's scream cut through the ringing in Maya's ears. She turned, weapon still raised. "Please," Rachel begged. "Please don't." The third shot silenced her. Maya stood motionless in the sudden quiet. Blood spread across the hardwood floor, the same floors she had selected from samples, had watched being installed. The smell of gunpowder mixed with Rachel's perfume. Outside, a car door slammed. A neighbor shouted. Someone must have heard the shots. Maya didn't run. She lowered herself onto the couch, her couch, and waited, gun still warm in her hand. In the distance, sirens began to wail. Police found Maya sitting calmly when they arrived, the weapon resting on her lap. She didn't resist arrest, didn't speak. Her expression remained blank as officers led her to the patrol car, neighbors watching from behind half-drawn curtains. "I'm home now," she told the detective who interviewed her at the station. "I took back what was mine." News vans lined the street by morning. Reporters dissected Maya's life on national television. Successful architect turned killer, scorned wife seeking revenge. They interviewed former colleagues, distant relatives, anyone willing to share their version of Maya. "She was always so controlled," one coworker said. "I never imagined she could do something like this." The prosecution built their case methodically. Maya's internet searches, the gun purchase, witness statements from neighbors who had seen her car parked on their street multiple times in recent months. The notebook filled with detailed schedules of Greg and Rachel's movements. This was not a crime of passion, the prosecutor told the jury. This was calculated, planned, executed with precision. Maya's defense attorney argued temporary insanity, that the trauma of losing her family, home, and identity had pushed her beyond rational thought. Psychiatric evaluations, character witnesses, photos of the happy family before everything collapsed. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Maya sat motionless throughout, watching proceedings as if they concerned someone else entirely. When asked if she wanted to make a statement, she stood slowly, facing the packed courtroom. "They stole my life," she said. "I simply took it back." The jury deliberated for just 4 hours before returning with their verdict, guilty on 2 counts of second-degree murder. The judge leaned forward during sentencing, peering down at Maya over his glasses. "Miss Harris, your actions demonstrate a profound disregard for human life. The court sentences you to 32 years to life in state prison." Maya nodded once, as if accepting a business proposal. Her children, now living with grandparents, did not attend the trial. They sent no letters, made no visits. In their young minds, they had lost 3 parents, their father to death, their mother to prison, and the life they once knew to circumstances they couldn't yet understand. As guards led Maya away, reporters noted she never looked back, never cried, never showed any sign that she regretted what she had done. Prison became Maya's new home. Concrete walls replacing designer spaces, metal furniture instead of custom pieces. Her cell measured 8 by 10 feet, smaller than her former walk-in closet. Yet she adapted with the same determination that had once fueled her architecture career. Within months, she established a routine: exercise at dawn, work in the prison library, meals taken alone, no friendships, no connections. Guards noted her model behavior in quarterly reports. Cooperative but detached, one wrote. Shows no emotional response to her situation. 7 years into her sentence, Maya received her first parole hearing. The board reviewed her case, noting good behavior and participation in prison programs. "Do you regret your actions, Miss Harris?" the head of the parole board asked. Maya looked directly at him. "I regret that it became necessary." Parole denied. "People want me to say I'm sorry," Maya told a prison psychologist during a recorded session. "They want tears and remorse. But Greg and Rachel destroyed everything I built. They moved into my house, slept in my bed, raised my children. What did they expect would happen?" 3 more parole hearings over the next decade. Each time, Maya refused to express remorse. Each time, she was denied release. Her children grew up in photos she received from her parents. Graduations, first dates, college acceptances. They never visited, never wrote. Maya kept their pictures taped to her wall, studying their changing faces, searching for traces of herself in their features. By year 15, Maya had become a prison legend, the architect who designed murder instead of buildings. Younger inmates whispered about her when she passed in hallways. Guards kept respectful distance. Alone in her cell each night, Maya would close her eyes and walk through her old house, room by room, the kitchen with morning light streaming through windows, the living room where her children had opened Christmas presents, the master bedroom with its view of the city. In those moments, she was home again, free, surrounded by everything she had lost. And in those moments, Maya Harris smiled. Maya's story serves as a powerful warning about the thin line between love and possession. When attachment becomes ownership, when loss transforms into fixation, danger follows. The warning signs were visible throughout her journey: isolation from support networks, obsessive monitoring, the inability to accept change, and the dangerous belief that violence offers resolution. What alternative paths existed for Maya? Therapy could have helped process her grief. Legal action might have secured better custody arrangements. Time would have eventually dulled the pain, allowing her to build a new life rather than destroy multiple lives. Now, her children grow up without parents. 2 people lost their lives, and Maya wastes away in prison, clinging to memories instead of creating new possibilities. If you recognize these patterns in yourself or someone you know, please seek help immediately. Revenge may feel justified in the moment, but its cost is always too high. What lessons resonated with you from Maya's story? What would you have done differently in her position? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you want more stories that explore the psychological triggers behind relationship crimes. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, remember that the path of revenge may feel like justice, but true freedom comes from releasing what we cannot control. Your next chapter is always more important than the last page someone else wrote for you. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Altar of Secrets. Bye for now.